So I'm a biologist. My background is in medical entomology, things like flies and mosquitoes and ticks and fleas. And I had an interest in chemical ecology, the chemicals that insects use to communicate. And so I've turned that into a business, manufacturing interesting products. And part of our goal is to give people better ways to control pests in their homes without pesticides. We think we can do a better job of controlling insects if we understand their biology better, and we use their own biology against them with these chemicals or other pheromones. Their innate behavior, we get better results than standard pesticidal go out and spray everything methods, and it often lasts longer. So we manufacture just outside of Seattle millions of insect traps a year, and they go into retail stores all through the US and Australia. There's a little row of little black pips. They look like shaped like rice, but they're about the size of poppy seeds. That size and color of poppy seeds. So that says mosquitoes are going in there. So the trap that we've got is really an interesting device. It was developed by a couple of military researchers that were tasked with trying to do something for the deployed warfighters to protect them from getting dengue and yellow fever and some of these other tropical diseases transferred by mosquitoes from people to mosquitoes to people. And so we licensed the technology and spent 7 years commercializing it, making sure that it works and making some significant design changes. So we've ended up with a simple device. It's like a container that holds a bit of water. The mosquitoes are irresistibly drawn by their urge to lay eggs. So we're using that piece of the biology to get them inside the trap. They're attracted to the dark shape, the water that's inside there. And then once they get in, we've got a tiny amount of lethal pesticide, 99% less than you'd use with an aerial spray. So it turns this whole concept of mosquito control upside down. Instead of spraying pesticide out in the environment, hoping that you're going to touch the bugs, now we get the bugs to come into the trap, kill them more effectively, and our device lasts for 10 weeks between changes. A typical pesticide and aerial spray might have an efficacy that's going to go 3, 4, 5 days. Then you're done. Then you're back up starting spraying again. And so, this sustains the pest control in a more effective manner, and importantly, it does almost no other damage to the environment. Nothing else is coming into these little places looking to lay their eggs, except mosquitoes. Yeah, so here's some dead mosquitoes in here. And so we know we're attracting insects, the eggs are hatching out, and then they get a toxic dose and die. Yeah, and it's the right species. So here we go, we're killing the mosquitoes right here.
That's amazing.
The pesticide is going to last for at least 10 weeks. You have 100% kill of the flying females and 100% kill of the larvae out to that 10-week period. And you can check your traps when you do that. The important thing is to maintain the water levels in it. So if it's out in the rain and it's raining all the time, you're probably okay. It'll take water in the top. It's got an overflow hole so it doesn't fill. But when it gets really dry, you need to be checking it maybe weekly if you have some very arid areas. And this is the best time to have your trap working because all the other natural pools of water are going to dry up. Leaving the traps is the only places with water. That's going to knock the populations down very quickly. So the downside to using the traps is to put out thousands of traps and then not recover them or not keep them serviced, because now they become a location where the mosquitoes are going to breed and intensify the problem. So, it's important to mark the traps and then to service them on a regular basis. And we'll be sending people little reminders by email if they bought from our website or from any of the other places where we can keep in touch with folks. So the Ovitrap concept has been around for some time. Other countries have looked at it, mostly through the tropics. There's countries that are trying out different styles of trap. Brazil had deployed a trap with a sticky in it instead of a pesticide. Philippines has done a tremendous social project there. They put out 1.4 million cups. They're like a little beer cup. And they're using a pepper-based compound to kill the larvae in there. They don't actually kill the female when she goes in. She comes in, lays her eggs, flies away, and still can transmit dengue to somebody. But over a 2-year period, they saw their dengue cases drop 90%. They saw their deaths from dengue drop significantly. They haven't proven a scientific link between cause and effect because that's a very expensive, detailed study where you have to get blood samples from everybody that's involved. But they're continuing this program, and in Philippines, in the large cities, they set the schools up as dengue risk awareness locations, so you can log in on the internet to find the dengue risk in each of the neighborhoods in these cities. So they're a great example of how community can become empowered to take care of the mosquito problem themselves. You know, because the traditional government-run programs of aerial sprays and larvicides doesn't work for this mosquito. It works for the the regular types of mosquitoes, but Aedes aegypti, the yellow fever mosquito, and Aedes albopictus, which is your Asian tiger mosquito, hide out in these cryptic habitats. They go into hidden places and rest there, and so when you come by with the aerial spray or the larvicidal spray, it's not touching these insects. So we use that innate behavior to pull them out of those spaces into our own little hidden spot where they get exposed to pesticide, and that's what makes it so effective. And we're also doing a project with the CDC dengue branch in Puerto Rico. Now they've got a big 5-gallon trap and they use sticky inside of it. And where they've deployed these traps at the rate of 3 and 4 per household in entire villages of 150 to 200 homes, they're into year 4 of 80% control of the mosquitoes. And that's pretty much unheard of. Consistent season-long, for 4 seasons, control at that level doesn't exist with any other technology. So this little wafer is going to last, the 1x1 strip is going to last for 10 weeks. It's going to release pesticide, the vapor will fill the jar, and it'll also dilute into the water.
Has Civil Defense and the Department of Health here on the Big Island embraced the idea of using traps?
They've asked us for traps, and they've actually asked us to donate traps to the Mailoli'i community, and they'll be helping deploying the traps out there. They still don't have enough evidence on their side to be able to deploy the traps on an area-wide basis. And it's a new technology, so we're hoping that they can do this little demonstration study and become convinced that they need to put traps down both coasts around every community. So we were contacted by the folks at the Hawaii Dengue Awareness Facebook page, and they were looking solutions, and they found us. We were busy manufacturing our first big order. We've just got this product commercialized, and our first big order is going into 1,641 Home Depot stores. We've made and shipped it as of last week, so all the Home Depots are going to have the product. And we're here because we think it's important that people get the right knowledge about the technology, and I'm also kind of passionate about people using effective products for mosquito control. There's a lot of products in the market, they're in stores, that don't work. And I think it's unethical for those manufacturers to be selling it and leaving the stores without the correct knowledge to be able to stock effective products. So we're going around to community meetings, we're training people on how dengue gets transmitted, how the insects find places to breed, and explaining to communities what they can do to take control of the mosquito control at their own community level. You know, and we're suggesting 4 traps per household, 30 traps per acre, and coming up with everybody being involved with removing alternate breeding sites for the mosquitoes. Everybody go out and set up the traps and then maintain those traps consistently. You know, and if it gets to a year from now or 2 years from now, the mosquito populations are down and the dengue threat is gone, then rinse them out, store them upside down in your garage until the next time it happens, because it will happen again. We've been able to show control of mosquitoes in smaller areas, but in terms of conducting large area-wide studies, we did one with Key West in Florida. We put 5,300 traps through Old Town Key West. They had a dengue outbreak in 2010. And we did it as part of an integrated program. So they had aerial spraying, they had larvicidal going on, they had a community effort going on, and we assisted along with the US Navy, the USDA, the local abatement district. We put out all these traps, and within by the end of that season, the dengue outbreak had been eliminated. You need to touch that mosquito at every part of its life cycle. You need to kill the flying adults. You need to larvicide in those places that are easy to reach, and then you need to use lethal ovitraps to be able to get those flying mosquitoes that are in cryptic habitats that the traditional methods don't work on. We recommend a proper integrated mosquito control system has experts that go through neighborhoods and communities figuring out where the mosquitoes are. and that's where you put the traps. I had a really interesting comment from a fishing lure on the back. It said, "Go fish where there are fish. Go put traps where there are mosquitoes." And that's where the integrated mosquito abatement programs are very effective, is that they go out and they do sampling, and the experts find out where those mosquitoes are and how many mosquitoes are there, and then you go put your traps in. At this point, I don't think Hawaii's got that, the resources to have gone through and surveyed the mosquito population on the island. So any home, any community area, the parks and schools, you should be putting traps out at 4 per home, 30 per acre, and make sure everyone's protected. Because relatively speaking, it's much less expensive to use the traps in the long run than to come in and spray with these hard pesticides every 5 to 10 days. The island is just gorgeous. We're kind of gratified to be welcomed to the community and to the island by everybody that's here. And we're a little different kind of a product than the traditional pesticides that are out there. And the large mosquito abatement districts are saying, well, we can't afford this product because it'll cost us too much in labor to go out and apply this. And we keep saying, you be the expert, let the community groups take care of the labor, because they need to be involved personally on the whole issue of mosquito control. They need to be going through their yards and emptying trays or other water sources and reducing the places where mosquitoes can lay eggs. They need to be going through and making sure cisterns are covered, that the mosquitoes aren't the cause for the mosquitoes in their own neighborhood.